And we're live, finally.
We are here. Little technical glitches just moments before we're about to go live always gets the heart race going, but we are here and happy Sunday, everybody.
Happy Sunday. You hit the live button and you don't go live. So I'm not sure what that means if you're not alive. Trust us, we are.
But we are happy to be here with you guys on this beautiful Sunday, sunny Sunday afternoon. I was trying to say here where we are.
Yep. And today we're going to talk about something a little bit different, a little bit interesting, and something near and dear to our hearts after 52 cruises. And that is what lies beyond the traditional 7-day Caribbean Alaska cruise. Is there more to cruising than that? Let's find out today.
Well, hello and welcome. We are Jill and Jerry, the Cruising Canucks.
Yeah, and this is our Sunday Live. It's every Sunday at 2 o'clock. And if you don't catch it, we throw it up as a podcast on YouTube and Spotify, Apple Music, all those fun places. Usually sometime early in the week, depends how busy we are. But yeah, so you catch us on repeat if you don't get to see us on a beautiful day like this.
Yeah, that's right.
So it's been a great week. Weather's been warming up. We've been down to our own personal cruise ship.
Yeah.
It's only a 36-foot cruise ship and capacities between 2 and 4 people. Depends on how many berths we have. But it's a lot of work, a lot more work than cruising.
Yeah, it's not a relaxing cruise ship by any means for us.
Yeah, I get to be the captain, the cook, the deckhand, the comedian, you name it.
The comedian.
Even the DJ I get to be. What's your job on our cruise ship?
I do a whole lot of cleaning. Trust me, I do the majority of cleaning on that deck.
Yeah, cruise director.
Cruise director. Share the cooking duties. I'm the bartender generally.
Bartender as well.
Yes.
Oh, so yeah. So it's been a fun week. We're still catching up from coming back from Europe, but I think we're almost kind of hitting the sweet spot now. We're kind of getting back in the groove. The vlogs are coming out. Everything's working well. Mm-hmm. So I think today what we'll do is we'll say hi to the few people that have decided to forgo the sunshine and good weather to saying hi to us today.
Well, maybe it's not sunny everywhere.
It's not sunny everywhere. I feel like there's a song in there somewhere.
Just because it's sunny where we are doesn't mean it is everywhere else in the world.
That's true. So we'll say hi to everybody, and then we'll come back and we'll get on today's topic. We'll do our trivia, all the fun stuff, and get this live rolling.
All right.
Let's see who's online.
I have Pam here first. Greetings from Wisconsin. Mark and I have 2 repositioning cruises booked. One from New York to Fort Lauderdale in November on the Enchanted Princess. The second one will be on the Rotterdam Transatlantic in 2027. Nice. Longer ones.
There you go. Wow. And I'm wondering, like, it took us a long time. We can talk about this more a little bit later on. We get into the meat of the subject, but it took us, well over a dozen cruises, maybe longer, before we finally broke the 7-day cruise model. And when I say 7-day, I'm ignoring the ones that are shorter, kind of the booze cruises.
I was just going to say, we built our way up because our very first cruise was only a 3-night cruise. Then we went to 4 and 5, and then we went from 5 to 8. That was our next one.
Yeah. And I almost don't count 8s either, because like sometimes some cruise lines, they do like at the same ship will do like an 8-day run and then a 6-day run. So like every other week they're shipping back and forth.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Just to kind of make it a little more exotic and then get a little bit farther on those 8-day trips.
But yeah, I mean, I think it took us I wonder how many cruises. We should have done that math before we came live, before we actually did longer ones. But
we'll talk about more of it soon. So yeah, but when I saw that from Pam's, I wondered how many cruises they did before they went to these type of cruises. That's where my brain went. So we'll see if we can figure these things out today. And
we have me and my manly man saying, happy Sunday. We agree longer is better. We're dreaming of a South Pacific cruise, a transatlantic, a Viking River cruise, exploring the Christmas markets, and down the road, a world cruise.
Hold on here.
Stop.
Only a channel called Me and My Manly Man would have to say that longer is better, right?
Stop. I knew you were going to go there. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, guys. He's so inappropriate.
This is about cruises. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Well, going on. Well, we're still going to talk lots about longer cruises and everything else. So be ready to put more comments in the...
Yes, we have questions for you.
Yes. Do we?
Yeah.
Oh, good. What do we have for an update? We have comments and questions. No, we don't. We're done that part. Oh, recent Cruising Canucks stuff.
Recent Cruising Canucks stuff.
So...
Did you see us in Paris?
Did you see us in Paris? That was the last vlog that came out. So if that's the one you saw, then that's the last one. Mm-hmm. We kind of just did one last week. There'll be 2 this coming week. And I'm not sure if we're doing a live next Sunday. What do you think?
It's Father's Day.
We should make that decision right here live.
Oh, shall we? Well, it is Father's Day.
Should we watch golf or should we do it live?
I'll leave that up to you.
Maybe
I'll let you make that call.
Let's see what the comment section. Should we do it live? Are you going to be around? Should we do it based on like Father's Day manly cruises? We could do that as the theme.
So it'll be talk about Alaska and Panama Canal.
Yep.
What other manly cruises there?
I don't know. Amsterdam.
I think it'd be a hard time to fill a 1 hour live.
Australia.
If that's all you got. Jack's saying golf. Jack's in for the golf tournament.
If people aren't going to be here, we're not going to be here. Why is Panama manly? Peggy says. We're getting sidetracked. We're going to get to these comments.
We'll tell you. Our opinion, obviously. My opinion, I should say.
Anyways, this coming week, you're going to see our only sea day that we did on the Norwegian Pearl through the Bay of Biscay as we head from where we were, Paris, Le Havre, over to getting to Portugal.
Okay.
So we did a sea day. That was it. We tried to relax. And then the day after that, we were in Porto. We went to like the old good part of Porto with the river for the first time ever.
Mm-hmm. Walked on the famous bridge there, all of those sort of things.
Louis the First Bridge. So yeah, watch for that coming up later this week after we get through the sea day. So that's the content coming up this week. And group cruise update. I really don't have a lot of update on the group cruise other than we're still kind of getting caught up and figured a few things. We've been processing a few payments and updating. The only update I really had was for those folks that are joining us on the Caribbean Princess. The prices have fluctuated here and there all over the place. And then actually something I haven't seen in a group situation. Princess has actually gone in and added some onboard credit. They've made some changes to the final payments that are due to reduce the price for people. So like good on Princess for doing that.
Yeah, we were very impressed when we saw that they were doing that because we were trying to figure out how to navigate the price change and they did it. So that was nice.
And it's so strange because on the other side of the coin, the Volendam fell into the opposite situation where we booked people earlier at the group rate and it was actually less expensive than as it got towards the end where the rate kept going up and up and up. So you never know with a group cruise which way. You never
know.
You can book early to make sure you get a spot and the price goes down. And you're thinking, oh, I should have waited or vice versa. It's a good thing. So it's like the whole cruise world where you're trying to book. When's the good time?
I don't like it. I know it's a supply and demand thing, but I really just wish there was a set price and you paid that price and you knew that was it and you didn't have to think about it again.
Bruce is saying the Antarctic is manly.
Oh, there you go.
And what's after group cruise update? And we're still trying to figure out what's going on with Norwegian 2027. Do I have the right date there? I do.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, so there we go. We have to get that figured out.
We do.
Yeah. What do you think? Are we going on the Dawn, everybody?
I think so.
We think so? Okay.
We're going on the Dawn. We just got to get it set up. And sorry, it's, like Jerry said, we've been trying to catch up with stuff. He's been very busy with work. And I've been spending more time with family and doing grandma things and looking forward to doing more of that again this week. So.
And I've been doing fire forecasting things. So it's been a crazy couple of days. That's for sure. Weeks for sure. Comment of the week coming your way right now, which is... Oh, it's going to be very small letters. I'll see if I can read it to you. But basically, the gist of it is, as far as dining options go, that are included in your fare, how does it work with the main dining room? Are you allowed to order just basically one entree and one appetizer? What is the standard there? So we've been through this with multiple people, multiple cruises now, and I think we've got it figured out.
Yeah, so I remember this question now that you're saying this. Someone said it was their very first cruise or their second cruise, and they weren't sure about ordering in the main dining room. So yes, depending on the cruise line is how we need to start that answer. But for the majority of cruise lines, it's unlimited. Unlimited appetizers, unlimited desserts. And for most cruise lines, it's unlimited entrees. You can order 2 or 3. Some cruise lines will charge you if you order a second entree, like MSC, right?
Interesting enough that some of the cruise lines that we're kind of taking a pause from are the ones that charge.
Not for that reason. Carnival will charge, but
for a third entree, I believe.
Third, so I mean that's still pretty generous.
You got to be hungry.
How many people are ordering 3 entrees? And then MSC does for a second entree, but they don't for appetizers or desserts.
And MSC only does it for the U.S. sailings. They don't do it for the European sailings.
Oh, that's weird.
That's weird.
Okay.
What are they saying?
Anyways, and then, Princess, Holland America, Norwegian, Virgin that we've been on, it's unlimited. You can order as many as you want. Am I missing a cruise line that we have firsthand experience with? I think we got them all. Celebrity. You
Morella.
could order as many. Morella you could too. Yeah.
But so it's interesting because a lot of times first time cruisers or people new to cruising, we've actually known people that have gone on multiple cruises and they've only done it by themselves, and they always thought you can only order one and one.
Yeah.
And then they cruise with us and they're like, what are you doing? And they see us order multiple things all over the place. So we have to educate them, especially now. And I don't know, I'm not sure if this is all cruise lines. We're still working our way through it, but I feel that some portion sizes are getting smaller on cruise ships here and there. Mm-hmm. So like
depends on the ship.
Like Norwegian, for example, you order bruschetta, and sometimes you get a couple pieces or whatever. You get tiny little one. I learned that on the first night of the cruise, so I thought, okay, I'm gonna order a couple of these every time I order them, just to get what seemed to be a decent appetizer size,
a normal size one.
So that you have to you learn throughout the cruise as to what the portion sizes are, and that you can modify how many of things you want to order. It's kind of an easy win, I think. But you can order more than one. I don't know if I've ever ordered 2 desserts. Have you?
We've never ordered more than 2 desserts, but we have had waiters bring us more desserts because they wanted us to try ones or stuff like that.
And we should add to the cruise lines that do charge for additional entrees, those 2 that we did have read a couple times. That sometimes that's waived or it's not really put through the system, that people have got away with ordering a couple extra ones here and there, and if the waiters enjoying them, they don't get charged for it. So that's happening too.
Well, that happened to us on MSC. We were traveling with our son-in-law, and he ordered on the formal dinner night, he ordered 2 lobster dinners, and he said the waiter's fine, I'll pay the upcharge, I know there is one, but he never did charge them. So yeah, I guess sometimes they don't do it purposely. Mm-hmm. They know if they're getting a tip from you later on in the cruise, or even beforehand, whatever.
Steven's saying that British Isles is a manly cruise.
Oh, wow, really?
Australian and Zealand. We're getting all the good updates in here. So when you and Kylie are going across the Atlantic, going nowhere, the men are going somewhere.
All right.
You can also, Bruce just threw an interesting comment. I'll touch on it because that adds value.
Yeah, that's a good one.
You can order entrees as appetizers. Sometimes they're slightly different size or slightly modified, but we have done that. Sometimes we've ordered them and they actually feel like they must be the full size because it's a lot.
But yes, you can. If there's an entree, if there's been a few times where there hasn't been an appetizer that I would eat, and so I've asked for like a smaller serving appetizer of a pasta entree or something like that.
Give me the small lobster, please.
The small lobster. Yeah.
Trivia question of the week. Here we go. This is in the whole theme of today's show.
Oh, gosh.
And what was the longest continuous cruising itinerary offered by a major cruise line in 2024? The longest number of days in the cruise in last year's cruising season. What was the longest
2024.
one?
Okay, go ahead.
So we've got A is 65 days, B 180 days, C 274 days, and 365 days for a full year. So, and for bonus points, what cruise line do you think it was?
I'm going to go with C, Holland America Cruise Line.
Oh, yeah?
That's my guess. I don't know. But I don't think that there was one that went the whole year. But
no?
I'm going to say, Holland America. I could be wrong with that. I'm just taking a guess.
What ship do you think?
But they do world cruises. Oh. What ship?
One of the dam ships?
Yeah. It's going to be a dam. Some sort of dam.
Peggy's going Holland America. Bruce is going Royal. Terry's going Radiance of the Seas, which would be...
Oh, wow.
Everybody's going with 274,
okay.
So C is the answer.
C is the answer?
C is the answer. And it is Royal Caribbean's world cruise on Serenade of the Seas was 274 days around the world.
Oh, so Royal Caribbean. Wow.
There you go.
274 days.
That's a little bit of time.
That's a bit of a commitment.
Mm-hmm. And as some bonus fun fact knowledge to go with that, you like the extra knowledge, don't you?
Love it.
It had 150 destinations. This is that Royal Caribbean cruise we just talked about.
150 destinations in
274 days in 7 continents.
7 continents.
So there you go. So that's a long ways away from that 7-day cruise.
Here's my question. If anybody that's done one of these or is planning them, how do you budget your excursions? It's one thing to pay your fare. You know what that is. You get it paid before you get on board. How do you plan for that many? 150 ports? That's a lot of excursions or, doing things at different ports. I wonder how you budget that and how you organize and plan all that. You must really have to plan well is what I'm trying to say in a drawn out way.
I'm just Googling.
You're Googling, are you, in the middle of your live show?
I'm just Googling because I see a comment there saying that Serenade of the Seas, Terry is saying that she thought it was the Radiance of the Seas. So I was trying to see if I could confirm that. It's 274 days. I came across it right here. And, it's Royal Caribbean site. It's going to take a while to load.
Maybe it was a different ship than what it is we're booking now.
It says Serenade of the Seas. So there you go.
There you go.
Anyways, that's, I think, all we have for trivia and fun facts today. Now we can go back to your topic.
Okay.
Beyond the 7-day cruise.
Beyond the 7-day cruise.
So, I guess, what do you want to say about it? Why did you start doing it? Let's start there.
Well, I think the main reason why we started doing longer than 7 days was as we were able to get more time off of work to do it, it just made financial sense in that you're only paying for the airfare. So we went from like doing 7-day cruises to 14-day cruises. That's how we did back to back originally. It makes the expense of the trip cheaper to do it that way as opposed to doing 2 trips, do one big longer one.
Yeah, definitely in the age of flying to cruises, which is our situation in Canada, in the age of hotel prices going absolutely berserk and unreasonable, that it's worth your while to kind of take those extra costs for cruising and spread them over multiple cruises, which kind of plays into what you're saying, I believe, right? Yeah. And I think there's some other options too, though. Usually the longer than 7 days is more exotic itineraries.
Yes.
They're often cruises that have a different demographic. You're probably going to have less children. You're likely to have more seasoned cruisers on there. It's going to be less of the let's go have a party for a week. It's going to be more of the I want a vacation and see the world type of crowd.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So I think those are all factors you have to factor in too.
For sure.
One thing I must put out there, though, is a lot of cruise lines are doing what they call 14-day cruises. And that's how they sell them. But they're not really 14-day cruises. They're 2 7s that are like back-to-backs.
Yeah.
They come back to the same port. In my books, I'm not calling that a 14-day cruise. I'm calling it 2 7-day cruises.
Some people love that and do it and enjoy it. And we've done it at least once. Did we do it twice? I feel like we did it twice. And we just found like it was sort of deja vu, living it all over again. And so it wasn't really our thing. So we prefer booking a cruise that is a longer one, like for instance what we just got off of with Norwegian Pearl, where it was a 12-day cruise, but we had 11 stops and we were in different ports all the time. We didn't have a port that repeated at all. Cruise.
We've kind of decided that if we're going to do a 14-day and it's going to be, say, out of Florida where you get that 2 7s, that we're actually going to get off the ship and go on another ship. So we're going to do, I know some of you call it the side-by-side. I still call it the back-to-back.
Right.
But where we're going to change the cruise ship and jump off and do a different itinerary, we're going to see different shows, have different food. So we have a different experience. So I know it means you have to move your luggage and clothes.
It's a little more work.
A little more work for one day. But I think in not having kind of the Groundhog Day repeat of to me, there's nothing more kind of awkward sitting there at one of the shows. The cruise director gets up and has the same little bit and intro that he made it sound like it was natural in the first cruise. The second one, it sounds all very hokey, right? Like you're the best passengers we've had in weeks. I just love the energy from this crowd. He says that every week, right?
Yeah.
So I kind of feel it takes away from the experience of just something new the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry.
You coughing?
Bit of a tickle.
So the type of cruises that we're talking about, you're usually not going to get, I'm saying usually, because sometimes you can get like a 22-day Caribbean and it actually does go to different ports. But usually there are different types of cruises, like the transatlantics we talked about when we were saying hi to everybody today. So that's an example of something a little more beyond the 7-day. Unless you're doing the Queen Mary transatlantic, because it is 7 days.
That's true. It's the only ship that does it in 7 days too, right?
I wish they'd all do it in 7 days. But so that's the transatlantic is a good example. You have what are called, like in Carnival, they have these kind of what they call journeys cruises, right?
Yes.
They do kind of these destination-specific special type of cruises.
Legend, is that what they call it, or journeys?
Journeys, so they go on kind of journeys. You've also got the world cruises that we just talked about at 274 days, and that some people we know that are going on. Yeah. And I don't know, maybe I'll throw that one out there. Would you go on a world cruise? Would you go on a cruise that's longer than, say, a month? Like, not 35 days, but I'm talking 70 days, 90 days.
Right.
Because I'm not convinced I'm there.
Yeah, so for us personally, the longest cruise we've done is 22 days. Right? That was we did the Enchanted Princess. It was 22 days of sailing, but we also had how many nights in hotels? I think 4 nights, 2 before and 2 after type thing. So we were gone away from our house almost a month by the time it was all said and done. And would you go longer? This is a debate we've had amongst ourselves back and forth.
For me, my sweet spot is in around 21 days, I have to admit.
Yeah.
I'm pretty good right there.
We feel that way too, but I know a lot of people don't, that they would love to do longer and have done longer. And but yeah, I think that the mindset, and I don't know, let us know if you've gone longer than that. Like Jerry said earlier, does your mindset change as to how you approach the vacation? Is it more that like this is your temporary home away from home, and as opposed to being on a cruise? And like generally when I go on a cruise, especially a 7-day cruise, I'm trying to do all the things that I want to do and living it up and having a great time. Does that change if you're on there longer? And do you like say, oh, after dinner tonight, we're just going back to the cabin and watching a movie. I'm not going to the show, or I'm not going to go dancing, or I'm not going to go to the hot tub, those sort of things.
Yeah. Do you begin to live on the cruise ship like more of a regular life thing than you do to say just be vacationing nonstop? I'm kind of curious.
Yeah.
Like, do you get the drink package for 274 days?
Right.
Like you might have the drink package to have that freedom, but do you get the value out of it? Because I don't think you're going to be drinking 274 days straight of sitting at the pool having margaritas every day.
Right. Yeah.
I think at some point it falls back to your normal life. Like we go cruising for 2 or 3 weeks. We'll have some drinks here and there, as you see on the cruise. We'll come home. We hardly ever have a drink unless someone comes over and we entertain for an evening and have a drink or two. But the only time we get to have our cocktails is usually on a cruise ship.
Right.
And it's not usually something happening at home. So I'm kind of curious how that longer life on a cruise works. So. Do you want to do a few comments before we come back?
Maybe you can ask a few questions. You can see some of them.
What question did you have? So we were on what the long. Well, you kind of just said this. What's the longest you've taken, and does it change how you cruise?
Yeah. Let us know what you think, guys.
And if you were going to go on a longer cruise, say you haven't, where would be your first one?
Ooh.
Like we've been on longer cruises now. We slowly evolved out of the 7-day into the 12 and the 22 and that type of thing. But if we have the opportunity to do a month-long cruise somewhere or 45 days, where would it be the first place you go? Right.
That's a good question. I'm sure you and I would have different answers. For me, I would really like to do Australia. So that would be, and I would want to do a longer one. Asia is on that mix for me too. I'd like to do a cruise around that part of the world. So that would probably that's what pops into my head for doing more exotic, longer cruises than what I've done.
I have that debate that I've talked about before where it's like, do we do the South Pacific? That I want to see all the South Pacific stops, but I don't want to do all the sea days.
Right.
Because you can get a 35-day going that way down towards Australia and back, but you end up only doing, 10 to 12, 14 ports, that type of thing. Yeah, where you've got 20-something sea days.
It's definitely the reality, right? When you're going on to these more exotic destinations, they're often more remote. That's why they're exotic. So you have to have the sea days to get there. That's just the reality of life.
Or you have to sit squeezed into a plane.
Or you have to be in a plane and grin and bear it for 25 hours.
Yeah, if I have to put up with 20 sea days versus that 20-some-odd hour flight to Australia, I'm thinking the sea days would be my choice.
Really? It would be?
I think it would be.
There you go.
If I had the time, I think, for sure.
Right.
Oh, you're getting some comments in there. I should jump in and see some of the comments here.
Yeah.
Did we cover Elaine's? Did we cover, I like a minimum of 14 days. It costs so much to fly to the port. Did 33 days.
Yeah.
3 to 4 weeks, it would be fine.
We did cover that.
We did cover it right before you jumped. There we go. Elaine got double coverage.
Sorry, just trying to find. Here we are.
And I'm trying to get past the Manly comments.
I love Doug's comment. My port spreadsheet for a 274-day cruise would be a real challenge.
No, I found it.
It would, right? Like, I just feel like that sounds almost overwhelming to me to try to plan that out. But I'm sure some people are better at it than I would be too. I find when we go on a cruise, even, just the ones we have booked for this coming year, I start looking at the excursions to book at the port of calls we're going, and I get to like the first 2 or 3 port of calls, check out those, and the last 3 or 4, I don't even bother because I'm so overwhelmed with all the options on the first 3. Yeah. That's why we booked, I guess, the excursion with Paris. It was right at the beginning of our trip. I don't know.
Exactly, yeah. Wonder if we could do a 274 day and never do a single excursion. That would be our speed.
I mean, it would probably be less expensive, but I mean, you're going to go to all these once in a lifetime places. You obviously want to have money to do excursions and go and see things and do it right too. So that's the other side of the coin.
But by no excursions, I mean no expensive ship excursions. Right?
Right. But at some point, what I'm trying to say is that you would have to pay for some sort of excursion, whether that's a private excursion or
I'm not saying not to
that sort of thing. So there's still planning and expense involved in it, is my point.
Yeah, I'm talking about, because you can always do those things a lot cheaper, a lot, more efficiently.
You say a lot cheaper, but here's what I'm going to say. I've done a lot of research on some of the other private companies that you can book, like shore excursions and a few other different ones. And they're sometimes coming in, like the Paris excursion, for instance, that we booked. They were coming in at the same price as the third-party companies.
I'm not talking that either.
Okay.
I'm talking like us going to Florence, getting on a train for a couple bucks and getting an Uber somewhere for a couple bucks.
Doing it totally yourself.
And doing it, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. I'm thinking that would be my approach in 274 days. Like I'm going to have enough sea days probably that I can research what's coming up next for the next block of stops.
That's how you like to roll.
And then do it that way.
But you like to do it so what Jerry's talking about, he likes to do very last minute planning. And I know a lot of people don't do that. They usually have their whole itinerary, what they're doing each day of protocols before they ever leave their home. We don't travel that way. Jerry likes to plan it the night before, sometimes the morning of even. And, but I mean, we do plan some things beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Bruce is saying that his last transatlantic, 2/3 of the guests were 3-star above. And that goes back to the demographic of people that you're going to see on these cruises.
They've traveled a lot longer. It's
going to be a different crowd than the belly flop competition in the pool type of crowd, right? And what's Jillian saying? Hard to pick an excursion, so the 14-day, 2-7 back works, right? Mm. And Peggy is saying we did a back. Sorry, I'm just getting it up here. We did a back-to-back Norway. Go ahead.
Stayed on the same ship. The only downside was the menu in the main dining room was the same for the second week. Yeah, that's exactly how we felt that happened too. And not only did we have that, we had the same shows in the theater. Of course, it's the same guitar player generally. And so they have their same set that they play again and again. So it gets repetitive.
That's what we found for sure. We even found that a tiny bit on Enchanted Princess, because it was really 211 back to back.
We did 22 days, even though most of the ports were different because they were doing different parts of the Mediterranean, but the menus repeated after, and so did the shows.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Don saying Paro DJ just did their world trip, 133 days, and use shore excursions. I don't know. Like you said, I've priced those out. I see very little savings, but I lose the comfort and protection of the cruise line organizing it and getting me back to the ship and all those health benefits and everything else. So
yeah,
I don't know.
They do guarantee they'll get you back though. But yeah, I don't know. I found like when they first came out into business that they were affordable, but their prices have gone up considerably lately in the research that I've done personally.
Yeah, we did get an email about affiliating, and like I didn't really see a lot of value there for our viewers that I didn't think it was worthwhile kind of going there. It was kind of, I didn't see the big savings is what I'm saying. They maybe have different options and things you can do other than what the ship's offering. Maybe that's a benefit.
That could be.
And we've got, what's Gail saying here?
She's about to do a 25-day New England, Canada, Iceland, Greenland on the Volendam, July 25 out of Boston, our longest one yet. Sounds like a lovely itinerary. Mm-hmm. It's going up to Iceland and Greenland. Yeah, nice. Enjoy.
25 days doing that. Wow. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's funny because I was looking at one just recently. They did a variation on that. It was North America, went over, and I kind of did like a transatlantic through Iceland and into Ireland, and
right.
So I'm kind of keeping my eye on a cruise like that. I think that's an interesting opportunity. The only problem, and we've seen this time and time again with cruises, from Carnival to even Norwegian just went through this. You can sometimes lose some of those exotic destinations, and they get canceled because of weather or ice conditions. So some people aren't getting to Greenland, they're not getting to Iceland.
That happens frequently, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Don is bringing up a very interesting point.
Very good point.
One of our debates about traveling right now is that we have a pet at home, and it's hard to find people to watch or expect someone to take care of your pets for you when you're gone for extended periods of time.
Exactly. We have been very lucky, and we have had our family members taking Bruno, but it's a lot to ask. We know that. We appreciate them doing it, but it is a challenge. And so, yeah, that's a big thing for sure when you have a little fur baby at home.
Mm-hmm. And Baylor Girl is saying, excited for a 2027 retirement cruise for 43 days.
New Zealand, Australia, and Pacific Crossing. Yeah, that sounds wonderful.
That's that one with lots of sea days, but phenomenal locations along the way.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's kind of, we've always joked about that when I finally retire, that might be the one we're going to do. So
yeah, it's on our list.
It's on the list for sure.
Bruce is saying on a long cruise, they tend to gather with new friends that they meet and make for evening and afternoon activities. So that's nice. You're there long enough that you can develop good friendships, right? And I would say that sort of happened to us on the Enchanted Princess with Gates and Sheila. We met them. They're currently cruising right now as we speak in the Med, but we became very good friends with them over the course of the 22 days, and we would had lunch with them, but we would just sit and chat and get to know each other each day a little bit more. So that's a nice advantage for sure.
Yeah, and I never thought of that when we set up this live today. I never even thought of that angle at all. I'm trying to figure out how this looks and how it is to cruise longer, but you kind of start to build a family with the people that are on there as long as you, and they're your friends, and you end up probably having dinner and drinks and even probably doing an excursion now and then, because that's even happened to us on shorter cruises, so it'd be magnified on a longer cruise.
That's right, for sure.
That's interesting.
That's a nice sort of bonus to it.
Yeah, now that Bruce brings that up, I know we've talked to other people that have cruised longer cruises, and they've met people this way, and they have kept in touch for like forever, for even like a lifetime.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, so that is one advantage. That's
it's a great point.
It's kind of buried in there for sure.
Yeah.
And Brian is saying,
we agree with getting more value for your cruise by booking more than a 7-day cruise. We like a side by side. Yeah.
The only thing that I've seen change in the cruise industry in the last 10 years has been, used to be the longer you book the cruise, the less expensive it is per night. So there's kind of some value there. So that was kind of the draw. I'm not seeing that as much anymore.
Right.
Like I was Googling longer cruises and I was pricing it out. I was on a site called Cruise Plum, which is, we can talk about that as far as tools to be able to find these cruises. But I was searching by price per night, and I was surprised how many like long monthly cruises there were, that the price was no different per night than doing a 7-day Caribbean.
Really?
Which was kind of disappointing to me. You think there'd be some kind of a discount built in.
But do you think there's more people doing it? There's more of a draw now because the majority of people that are cruisers are like us, and they've sort of done the 7-day run, and so they're demanding or looking for that more, and so therefore there's a higher demand for them.
Yeah, and I guess I should separate there. These more exotic cruises, if you're doing a repositioning, which can be more exotic, it's often less money because they're moving the ship. They have to move the ship, and they're giving you a discount because they're getting to their main markets,
right?
Which is different than just an exotic itinerary that the ship regularly does, which is kind of what I was looking at.
Okay.
So there is a difference there. So if you are doing transatlantics or...
There's usually deals to be had with transatlantic, right?
Yeah, exactly. So that plays into it as well. And Steven's saying he wants to do the South Pacific as well. And Ob and Steve are saying 7 is their longest so far, but they want to try longer. No world cruises yet. Yeah. And what we found, and this is a slippery slope, I'm going to warn Ob and Steve right now, when you start doing the longer ones, you start thinking, oh, a 7's just not long enough. And it's true. You go on a 7 and think, well, that was way too quick. Like
really hard to go back. I know. Our shortest cruise we've done in quite a while was our Celebrity Apex that we did back in November with Bruce and Tawny, and it was a 6-night. And I think the 4 of us sort of looked at each other after 6 nights and went, this is not long enough. Why do we do this?
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Peggy's saying on her list of longer ones, she'd like to do Australia, New Zealand, Asia. Yeah.
There you go.
And also, Ob and Steve are adding in that, maybe when they do their longer one, they want to try Japan.
Yes.
Japan can kind of be looped into a repositioning, because a lot of times you can do Japan and then it'll come across and reposition Alaska or vice versa.
That's right.
So there's an opportunity there. And Peggy's saying that 4 weeks would be her limit, is what she's saying.
Do you think 4 weeks? Yeah. I think that's my limit too, Peggy. I know that I felt like the Enchanted Princess that we were 22 days. We were ready to come home then after that. Yeah,
I think so. Yeah. And 67 Fastback, they're saying they just booked back-to-back Celebrity, Alaska, and then southbound for the end of August this year. It's a little different with them. Live in Vancouver, so it's convenient. Yeah.
So convenient for you.
And what's interesting about Alaska is you can do those 7-day runs that start in Seattle and Vancouver, and they end up in Anchorage. And then you can turn around and come back. And sometimes you can get different stops. Sometimes it's a mix of some different, some new.
Okay.
But that kind of can be a 14-day, although I think you'd probably have the same problem. You may have repeats on menus and so forth.
Probably.
Because we have looked at that. We've even looked at doing like one or the other, because you can get to different glaciers, different ports if you do the whole run.
That's right.
Instead of a 7-day that returns to Seattle and Vancouver. Yeah.
Right.
And Karen's saying hi from Tennessee.
Hi, Karen.
Grant is saying 21 days is all they can handle. Too much of a homebody to be gone longer. Dislikes port days.
Give me as many sea days as I can have. So he's the opposite of you.
Yeah, and I may evolve back to there again one day too.
Yeah.
What's Ken's longest so far?
The longest has been 15 days, Japan to Vancouver. Last month we had 27-day from New Zealand to Vancouver booked for 2027. Love the long cruises. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. And I'm not convinced anybody's answered my question yet, though.
What?
But is it different? Do you feel like you're, does it feel like home eventually, or does it always feel like a vacation? I'm curious. Does it become your new norm?
I don't know.
What's Brian saying?
Brian's saying our 50th, we are taking 3 kids and families on Royal Allure, then getting off and going on a Princess. So you'll have the family week, and then you'll have the quiet week for the two of you. That's nice, Brian.
It's a good strategy.
That's a good strategy.
And Kylie's agreeing with me.
Oh, no. Don't agree with Jerry.
She'd be doing the ports on her own.
I do plan down to the minute, months in advance. Can't do last minute. Yeah.
And Kylie, she could do her own guru walks.
Yes, she could. Yeah, maybe that's just strategy we could take. We'll just follow Kylie on whatever cruise ship she books, and we'll just follow her around at ports, because she has it all planned out to a T. Yep. We don't have to worry about it. Yeah.
And Elaine has got off a 14-day, booked it as such, and it turned out it was also a 2 times 7.
Yeah. Even if the itineraries were different. Yeah, it's true. That's what happens, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Family at sea. They're going to be on the Enchanted Princess in the fall. They can't wait. I think, when I think of all the cruise ships we've been on, I think that's my favorite ship.
What?
Yeah.
What?
I know it's not yours, but I believe it is mine. I mean, there's some beautiful ships out there. We've been on some wonderful ones. I loved the Volendam and the size of it and the atmosphere there, but I love the Enchanted Princess too. A, it's a beautiful ship. It is beautiful, and we had a wonderful time on it.
And B, it's got Candy Girl. You probably like it for that reason.
Yes, I'm drawn to it because of a picture it has in a staircase.
Yes, I thought that was the case. Yeah. Meanwhile, though, in my usual morning conversations about multiple cruise ideas I have, which is every morning of our life.
Every morning of our life.
I threw out the idea just a few days ago about what about Enchanted Princess, because it kind of fell into the dates, and you did not say, oh yeah, for sure I would do that. You didn't give me an answer.
So I wish maybe one day I should just set up a camera in the corner of our living room and not let Mr. Canuck know that I'm recording, so they can share what my morning meetings are like with Mr. Canuck. Because here it is. It's generally, they start at around 6:45, maybe 7 a.m. if I get up a little bit later. And it's consistently an hour of him just talking nonstop about cruises and upcoming cruise possibilities and where we could go and what ship we could be and how much it would be and where it goes and all of this. And he just rambles on for like a whole hour. And I don't try to give him any encouragement at all, because I know if I do, it gets longer. So I just let him do his thing until it gets serious, and I think he's about to book something. Then I get involved. But he just needs to share his opinions and his research every morning with me, and I'm still half asleep, just listening to him, sipping my coffee.
See, that's her perspective. My perspective is I'm coming up with some wonderful cruise ideas, some fresh content. I am telling her all these wonderful things in the world she can see. And all she does is sit there and just stare at me and sip her coffee and doesn't say, that's my perspective. But then about once a week, maybe if I'm lucky, I'll say something about a cruise and she'll say, ooh, tell me more about that one. I like the sounds of that. It only happens about once a week.
It's true. It's about true. Around once a week. So he probably throws out 100 different cruise options to me in the course of a week. And out of the 100, I tell him to do a little more research on one, maybe 2 if he's lucky. That's how we work at our house.
Trish and Eric just booked 14-day Norway cruise on the Majestic Princess, followed by 22s on the transatlantic to Buenos Aires in October. 36 days.
Now that's a cruise.
And that's a long ways.
Trish and Eric, wow.
Yeah,
Nice.
I've looked at South American cruises. No one's really brought it up so far until now, but the flight times are pretty impressive all the way down there. I think more than Europe.
Yeah, for sure.
So that kind of scares me a little bit because I'm not a big flying for a long time type of person.
Oh, excuse me.
And we've got Steve is saying that he would like to go longer, but his fur babies make it tough. Might stretch it out to 10 to 14 days.
Yeah, that is an issue, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. And Chris?
He says, your opinion on Hawaii, doing a 15 to 16 night return out of San Francisco or fly down to Hawaii and cruise around the islands the same way, that way. Yeah, that has been our debate over and over and over again. So what do you think?
I don't know. I have...
Other people, let us know what you think, but...
I don't know. Friends of ours used to go to Hawaii every year, and they would rent a condo for a couple of weeks, and they would just do it that way and rent a vehicle, and they would just explore Hawaii that way. So that's another thing. I know it's not a cruise thing, but it's a different way to think about Hawaii other than... Because maybe the cruise way isn't the best way to see Hawaii, and probably a lot of people would tell you that might be the case.
All right. We were really close to booking exactly what you're talking about, Chris, the 16-night return out of San Francisco a couple of years ago. We saw a really good rate on it, and we came close, but we didn't. And it's still sort of on our wish to do. Here's what I think personally. I don't know. I feel like if it was just the two of us, it might be too long of sea days. I guess maybe we would meet people along the way and make friends and it would be okay. But I keep coming back to, now that we've been doing group cruises, that I would love to sort of do a patron or a small group cruise on that long of one. And so if you're there with friends and family or whatever, if there's a group of you, is what I'm saying, it might not make it feel like it's a lot of sea days.
I'm translating that one for you. Didn't catch the innuendos there. Like, I don't want to stare at you for 5 days straight and talk to no one else, is what she just told me.
Take it as you like. No, that's not true. But it's true. Like, now that we've done 2 group cruises, both of our group cruises, the times that we have had on them has just flown by because we've just been so busy interacting with people and having such a good time. And so I don't think you would feel like it was too long of a time if you were there with a group, is what I'm saying. Yeah.
Bruce and Tawny are saying that after 5 weeks on the Rotterdam, they finally got into a routine each day, but the port days become exceptions to the routine.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So the routine is the sea days, but the port days are kind of the break it up.
Right. Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah, that makes a bit of sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've got Jillian saying that cruise gets you to the different Hawaiian islands. Yes. And that's
the advantage.
That's
right,
my concern.
Jillian?
Yeah. I'm afraid that I just get to the main island and I would never get to any other islands where you can, that's the
island hop around.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is what we'd want. Yeah.
And Terry is saying that she would do a group cruise to Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Good. I think I have a few other people on board with that too.
There you go. Forget about Norwegian Dawn. It's group cruise to Hawaii.
No.
What?
No.
We did that Hawaiian cruise, Peggy says, with 3 other couples, and it was great.
Yeah. See, that's what I'm talking about. Thanks, Peggy. Love the sea days, but I do think doing Hawaii as a land vacation is probably better. Mm-hmm.
Greg's got a question for you.
Any thoughts on which cruise lines are best for longer cruises?
I have an idea.
Oh, do you? What's your idea?
I would like to say cruise lines that are sailing smaller ships to the exotic destinations, because they're going to, first of all, get into more ports and smaller ports.
Right.
And it's going to be a smaller community. The downside is if you're into any big weather,
I was just going to say.
They'd be a little rougher, I'm sure. But as far as cruise lines, like some cruise lines market themselves as being destination oriented versus just holiday good time, right?
Yeah.
Like Holland America has always been one that says that they embrace the destination they're going to, and they try to bring the culture into the cruise as well. So Holland America does a good job with that.
They do. I think they do.
And I think if you go to the smaller cruise lines, they do something very similar. I think you get into the Azumaras. I think you get into Oceanas. I think they do a little more of that as well.
I'm coming at it at a very practical level, and I think any cruise line that offers offers me free laundry or includes a laundry package with it too, because when you're thinking about going for, 25, 35 or 200 and whatever days, then, the practicalities of life come into play. And so, yeah, you want to have stuff like that. So we appreciate it. Even it was only a 7-day cruise, but Cunard has self-serve laundry, but you don't have to pay for them. And they provide soap and everything you need to do your laundry while you're on board. So that I would appreciate that, say, over a Norwegian who doesn't have a laundry room to use, and you would have to do laundry through their expensive program. So.
And I think the other piece that's important, is getting more important all the time with connectivity and people and family when they are traveling, is good internet. If you're going to have to pay an arm and a leg for internet, or it's going to be crappy internet,
yes,
that's going to probably weigh into, it's one thing to go away for 7 days and be disconnected. It's nothing to be gone away for a month plus and be disconnected.
Yeah, absolutely. Internet becomes an issue when it's a longer cruise, for sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Walter's saying that 20 days he did in April didn't seem to be enough.
Waiting to try 35.
Yeah. And we're also seeing JT is saying, would love to see us cruise to Bermuda. Could be happening soon. We've got some cruises we're just about ready to announce, and that might be one of them.
Great idea. You've got a great idea there. Yeah.
Gail is saying that Princess for a World Cruise would be great. Mm-hmm. So I guess the one thing I wanted to cover before we're wrapping up today is a lot of people don't have a good idea of how to find these cruises. Because if you're like me, and for years you would go to the cruise websites and you'd price out cruises, and you go in there and the first thing you do is click on, 7-day length, and you go sort from least expensive to most expensive. These type of cruises we're talking about are usually farther down the page, like way down the page, because they're longer days. So it drives up the price. So they're usually like buried farther into the websites, which is a challenge, which is why my good friend Bruce taught me about Cruise Plum.
That's right.
Cruiseplum.com. If you haven't tried this out, it is amazing because you can sort so many different things in cruises, and you can sort by per day. So that way it kind of takes out that piece of like, it's going to cost more money to cruise longer, but are you getting a better deal because it's less per day? And that's one of the things that we look for. Yeah. I remember we booked Cunard's Queen Elizabeth. We didn't even know about that cruise to Alaska until I used this site. I then came across price per night on the Queen Elizabeth was so low compared to the other cruise lines we're doing Alaska. And then on top of that, we all wanted to do Cunard. So it was like a perfect match of like really good price per night, because if you can go on a 15-day cruise and it's going to cost the same amount of money as a 12-day cruise, then obviously you're getting more cruise for your money.
Now, we're not saying book with them. We're saying you can use it as a tool to do your research and then book with the cruise company or your travel agent if you have one. But yes, we do use a search engine to sort of help find what we're looking for. Like
on that website, what I love about it too is you can get right into the weeds. You can say, okay, don't include these cruise lines in your search. So I've done that. You can even say, you can choose the size of ship that you want it to show in the search.
Right.
So if you don't want to go on the mega ships or you want to go to smaller ships, you can do that as well. So you can even choose ports that you don't want to
personalize it.
Yeah, that you don't want to go to. So say you don't want to go to Costa Maya, you can choose that. Don't choose any cruises that go to Costa Maya. So
speaking from personal experience there, everyone.
So if you haven't tried that out, we don't get paid we're not sponsored with Cruise Plum. It is literally
no
just
affiliation, but we do use it.
We do use it. We find it very valuable in finding. I have found cruises literally on there that I have missed elsewhere in my searches on my morning rants.
I was just going to say, usually most mornings start with him having Cruise Plum up on his phone talking to me about all the new things that he has found on their website. So maybe I don't like them.
And the other thing to keep in mind is that, you made me forget what I was going to say, is that sometimes these more exotic cruises, believe it or not, they book up. Even though they're more exotic, they're longer and they're more expensive, they often book up early. And a lot of times the price is cheaper, less expensive when they announce the cruise.
As they come out.
That they get more expensive as they sell out and get closer to the event. So if you're going to do these more exotic ones, I find that you're a little bit better off to book either early or early with a promotion. So if you can happen to catch like a Black Friday, Cyber Monday deal for a cruise that's happening a couple of years later that's more exotic, you might get a promotion and there includes free perks of some sort, that type of thing. Mm-hmm. But that's what we're finding, that these ones of all cruises sell out a lot faster than the 7-day runs going to the Caribbean.
For sure.
So if you have your heart set on it, don't wait for a better price is what I'm saying. Then maybe book and maybe hopefully book something that you can renegotiate the fare if it goes down. But I've seen that Scott is in for Hawaii group cruise too.
There you go. Thanks, guys.
I'm getting updates on the Canadian Open golf tournament too.
Are you?
This is good. I don't have to Google stuff. I could just like say, okay, get me abreast of what's going on. Hopefully.
Paul is saying it should be an exciting finish at the Canadian Open.
Shane Lowry, one of my favorite players from across the pond, is
Is he in the lead?
He was when I came to the live, so I'm not sure if he still is or not. So I'm gonna find out. But
all right.
Oh, so was there anything else you wanted to? Oh, now Peggy's saying ladies Hawaii cruise. Why is everything a ladies cruise?
I have to take Jerry to Hawaii with me, guys. Yeah.
I am her photographer and videographer, so she's got to take me because I'm the staff.
Oh.
Yes.
There you go.
Or would you film the ladies cruise all on just your GoPro?
Probably just on my iPhone. Here you go. This is the camera.
Will you do all the editing too?
No.
No?
No.
See? The men cruises are going to come off a lot better because I'm going to film the whole thing. We're going to have a good time. It's going to be edited. It's going to be some great music. Yes. People are going to think that men's cruises are much better.
I would pay someone to edit it for me.
You would pay someone?
Yeah.
Who?
That's what you are. You're my staff.
Oh, man. Yes, ladies' cruises get more and more expensive.
More and more expensive.
You pay for a photographer, pay for it to be edited.
There you go.
Spend.
I could just take Crystal with me. I think she could do it all, right, Crystal?
Oh, okay. Well, we've run out of time, but we wanted to kind of talk about these longer cruises because we've definitely evolved this direction. You know, it's funny because there's the odd day where I think, let's just book a 7-day Caribbean fun cruise and go snorkeling and have a few drinks. Kind of sometimes you just want to get away, right?
Still want those.
You still want those, but also you still want those. Let's go see the world, and cruising provides a great opportunity for getting out there and seeing all the wonderful things around the world that be hard to do by just flying to all those destinations.
True.
So I think we've managed that successfully in Europe to the point where I always say cruising can be like a buffet of travel. You can sample a little bit of everything, and when you find something you really like, you can go back and commit to it. Maybe do a land trip or do a longer trip there before another cruise.
True.
And I feel Europe is turning that way for us, that we're looking at opportunities to do more ground or land-based stuff before we get on cruises as we explore parts of Europe that are a little farther away. The riverboats go down those spots that I've been looking at, but they're a little more money. Yeah. They're longer too, though. So that's an opportunity for longer, more exotic cruises. River cruise we didn't really bring up today as well.
That's true.
So, anyways, I think we'll call it there.
We will.
We've got some golf to watch. And what was the verdict? I didn't see anybody if we were coming back next week or not.
Oh.
What do you think?
We had 2 comments and they were opposing.
Opposing comments, either come back for the live or not come back for live. Yeah. Oh, should we do a live on Manly cruises or just skip it for the week and relax?
That's up to you.
That's up to me. Stay tuned this week. We'll let you know as the week goes on if we're going to do a live or not. Right now, we're back and forth. We're 50-50.
There you go.
But thanks for watching, everybody, and have a wonderful week. And if it's been sunny where you are, hopefully stay sunny all week long, and summer's starting to kick into high gear. And if it's been rainy, I'm sure sun's coming your way from the weatherman.
There you go. Just spoken like a true meteorologist. Just waver
50-50 chance.
Okay. Have a great week, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.